So tell me more about the youth film festival that you run under Carribean Tales.
A few years back I made a feature film called A Winter Tale.
Okay.
Which was about youth in Toronto, essentially, young men. And the audience fundamentally was young Torontonians. And it had a huge success when we took it into schools. We did what's called an alternative distribution plan, where we took it into schools, we took it into community centers, and the audiences loved it. And also there was nothing else really like that. A kind of talk back program where films were shown and young people got an opportunity, community got an opportunity to talk about issues that were important to them that they saw in the movies. So it occurred to me that there were a lot of films that were like that. That could be used for that purpose, to stimulate discussion among Canadian youth about what it means to be, you know, African heritage or Caribbean Canadian, and that this would be a very useful exercise. So we started this festival called the Carribean Tales Youth Film Festival in order to engage youth in discussion about being, you know, about identity essentially in a multicultural society. And also because having grown up in the Caribbean myself, I grew up in Trinidad. We had a lot of positive role models in the sense that in the Caribbean for the last 50 years, the government's been black, has been, you know, your teachers were black. The images that you saw on the television were black people for the last 50 years. So we don't have that in Canada.
No, it's almost the opposite.
Yeah. So I felt that it's very empowering for young people to see images of themselves as heroes and actors and complex three-dimensional characters, not just in Canada but internationally, in global context, to say we're not just marginalized the way we are in Canada, but there are huge stories that can be told about us that involve who we are.
Certainly, in America, with President Obama being elected, I mean, politics aside, that must have been a huge step forward, you felt.
Oh, absolutely. But I mean,
politics aside,
Obama himself is still quite isolated, and that happened, what, 3 years ago? So I think it's a very empowering kind of concept. So 3 years ago we started this program of taking Black and African heritage films into schools and showing them to audiences of youth and university age Canadians. And also giving an award every year to a filmmaker or a media person who had made a substantial contribution to the representation of people of African heritage or people of Caribbean heritage.
So we talked a little bit before the show that you are honoring two people this year.
Yeah, this year we're honoring Denham Jolly, who is an entrepreneur, activist, media pioneer. He was very much the driving force behind Toronto's first urban black radio station, 93.5.
There we go.
93.5 FM. It took him 15 years.
15 years. That's some dedication.
Yeah, to get a license in the context of, you know, institutional prejudice against having a...
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we want to honor his contribution because he's not young, but on his, you know, we all stand on his broad shoulders and on the shoulders of people like him who broke down those barriers. And I think it's important, again, for young people to recognize the achievements of those who went before, to see this man from Jamaica who came here and made a huge success of himself as a businessman. And, you know, really worked hard to develop this society as an activist, and then made a huge contribution in terms of, you know, creating the first black radio station. That's an achievement that young people can aspire to. You can do that too. And then, you know, also to recognize that young filmmakers like Storm, younger filmmakers like Storm, are creating, you know, images that are incredibly empowering. And then the other award that we're giving is to a young Trinidadian called Ian Hornerine, and his first short film, which incidentally he developed developed through our incubator program, Carribean Tales incubator program. It was an official selection at TIFF last year. It won Best Short Film at TIFF, and has now been nominated for a Genie.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's being honored as well for his contribution to the representation of Caribbean people on screen. Now,
tell me about Storm's film, because this film is getting a special kind of screening, and it must have stood out a little bit. So what stood out about the film, or maybe about Storm as a director, that gives you the idea to make this a special screening?
Well, this year we're very, very fortunate because we're partnering with TIFF.
Yes.
And when I was talking to them about what we could do together, the idea was what kind of crossover movie, essentially,
right,
speaks of the Caribbean, speaks of people of Caribbean heritage, but also speaks to wider universal issues and says something completely new. And I think what is extraordinary about his film is the way that, even though it's about history, so it teaches about the past. It's about something called the Green Bay Massacre, which took place in Jamaica. It actually is from a very powerful youth perspective and has a very contemporary feel, and is shot very boldly in a modern way, you know, and he really has an eye. He's very talented. He really has an eye for, you know, fantastic images. And in a way also, his film refers to Caribbean classics like The Harder They Come. There are a lot of elements in it that are similar, but at the same time, it takes that whole genre and you know, further, and does something completely new. So, you know, I think that there's a lot of exciting work coming out of the Caribbean now. The whole region is coming of age. You know, there are a lot of incredible stories being told. So this is the one we chose for this year.
And the Storm must be very honored by that. Now, what is the future of the festival?
Carribean Tales?
Yes.
Well, as I said, I think we're going from strength to strength.
Right.
We're very much on the move. We have, like I said, we're getting ready for our big festival in Barbados. As soon as this is finished, we're continually acquiring content and taking it onto the world stage. We're developing our base in the States. I mean, for me, the key is really that the Caribbean is international. Fundamentally, Caribbean people are from all over the world, and so you know, fully confident, fully empowered, that voice has a global place alongside any other brand.
Absolutely. I mean, it's fair enough. Now, there are a lot of film festivals out there that kind of have an international category. I mean, even at the Oscars, they have Best Foreign Language Film. Do you feel that foreign language or not, international or not, these movies should all be put on the same kind of platform and compared together? Or do you think they're...
yeah, I think so. My fundament, you know, at this point, I think what's exciting about this particular moment in everything is that nobody's sitting around waiting for the Oscars to get their act together and show films from different perspectives. We are not waiting. We are getting along.
You're getting things done.
Exactly. And I think, like you guys, I mean, you're not waiting for the CBC to, you know, commission you. You've got your own channel happening. That is so possible. It's like, and the force of that and the confidence of that is like the Arab Spring. You know, it's like we can all do everything, and nothing is standing in our way anymore. And it's very real. And very, you know, it's about time.
Now, would you like your festival to eventually be on the same level as, say, Sundance or TIFF?
Like I said, those comparisons are irrelevant to me. I mean, obviously this year, it was a big...
monetary or publicity-wise or something like that? Or is it more about the films that you showcase?
Obviously this year, it was great that we got partnership with a festival of the magnitude of TIFF, but it also I think it also speaks to the fact that TIFF or those big festivals recognize that we are doing things that are useful to them, that they have to catch up with what's happening,
right.
And so
they have to expand.
Those kinds of partnerships, I think, are very much going to become much more the norm, and hopefully one day we're all on the same level. But what I don't want to say is, yes, I want acceptance from.
No,
we are doing.
You have your own voice. Yeah, you're absolutely correct, and it's very inspiring to hear. So you stay tuned. One more time, get a new drink of tea, fluff your pillows. We will come back and talk to Storm, the director of Better Must Come, and watch a clip from it as well. See you soon.